Thank you for joining today's live. I'm your host, Rafid Anjum, and today I'm here with...
Safwan Mustafa.
Okay, great. Today we're here to talk about some common English problems. Let's wait for some more people. Oh, like should we wait for some... Audience এখনো zero তো তাই কথা বলতেছি না Assalamu alaikum everyone. Thank you for joining today's live. I'm Rafid Anjum and I'm here with...
Safwan Mustafa.
Okay, great. So today we're here to talk about some common English problems. আমরা সাধারণত ইংলিশ পড়তে গিয়ে যে প্রবলেমসগুলো অনেক বেশি ফেস করি। সো আমরা আরও কিছু ভিউয়ার্সদের জন্য ওয়েট করছি। বাট আমাদের আজকের টপিক মেইনলি হবে our alphabets and our pronunciations. সাথে কিছু vocabulary and at any time comment section ওপেন আছে। আপনারা কাইন্ডলি কোনো প্রশ্ন থাকলে কমেন্টে করতে পারেন।
And let us know from where you are watching.
Yeah, definitely. Do let us know where you're currently from. Okay, so we'll get started with the topic now. Our first topic was going to be alphabetical pronunciations. So we genuinely learn the alphabet when we are very young. আমরা 4-5 বছর বয়স থেকেই A, B, C, D খুব সহজভাবে শিখে আসছি. But we don't learn them the way they're actually meant to be learned. We just sort of have this weird accent mixed into it. That does not sound natural.
Yeah, natural.
Yeah.
It's very important to sound natural.
See, the thing is, the most important part of English is not even the vocabulary, it's the accent, the way you talk and the way you pronounce.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, what are some letters we have problems with, Safwan?
For example, we have problem with A, maybe with F, and J, K, and many other letters.
Okay, how many are the letters total?
There are 13 total alphabets.
Okay, 13 total letters, and let's read them out for a second. There'd be A, F, G, H, J, K,
O, P, Q, R, T, V, W.
So I've personally encountered in my students that V and F are such problematic letters.
Yeah.
We don't have these sounds in Bangla, so we find it hard to catch on to them.
Yeah, there is a reason why we don't pronounce it correctly, because in Bengali alphabets there is no fa and there is no wa, but there is pa and there is pa and there is ba.
Yes.
So
exactly.
that's why we pronounce it pa and pa, but it's
Exactly.
actually not correct.
We learn language and speaking through our mother language. আমরা যে ভাষায় কথা বলছি সেখান থেকেই আমরা বিভিন্ন প্রোনাউন্সিয়েশন শিখতে পারি এবং আমরা সবসময় চেষ্টা করব যে সেই প্রোনাউন্সিয়েশনের সাথে নতুন একটা ভাষার প্রোনাউন্সিয়েশনকে মিলিয়ে নিয়ে শেখার। কিন্তু যখন এরকম কিছু অক্ষর চলে আসে, লেটার্স চলে আসে যেগুলো আমাদের ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজে নেই, আমাদেরকে অবভিয়াসলি নতুন করে শিখতে হবে. It's hard, but definitely possible. And eventually it does seem rather easy. For us, for example, we don't find this hard at all. It's all a matter of practice.
It's
And you
really
can get,
easy, and
yes,
practice is really important actually.
you can get exactly to where we are right now. So some comments we have right now.
Yeah.
Mr. Shagor said all good. And Shahnur ma'am said excellent program. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, it's good to know that everything's running smoothly.
Yep.
So back to our topic at hand. These letters, we commonly change up these pronunciations. The A's become R, and the F's become F, and certain problems that we can encounter. Can you give an example with any word?
Yeah, let's say that the alphabet F, okay? So we pronounce it ep or af, something like that. But what happens is that when you pronounce it as app, So what happens? Let's take a word. Let's say fan. So we pronounce it pen because why? In the alphabet we are pronouncing ep. But if we pronounce f, then it becomes fan automatically. So it's actually really very important to know the correct pronunciation of the alphabet at first.
সো আমরা ধরে নিতে পারি দিজ আর জাস্ট 13 লেটার্স, মাত্র 13টা অক্ষরের জন্য আমাদের কেন কোনো সমস্যা হতে পারে। কিন্তু এই অক্ষরগুলো থেকে আমরা শিখি যে এই অক্ষর দিয়ে তৈরি করা শব্দ আমরা কিভাবে উচ্চারণ করব। সো আমরা যখন এই অক্ষরগুলো শিখতে পাচ্ছি না, এই অক্ষর দিয়ে তৈরি হওয়া হাজার হাজার শব্দের প্রোনাউন্সিয়েশন আমরা মিশিয়ে ফেলছি বা ভুল করে ফেলছি। যেমন ফর এক্সাম্পল দ্য লেটার ভি, উই ক্যান সে ভায়োলিন or it will become violin.
Yeah.
It does not make any sense. It sounds rather preposterous. So when we say va, it is important for us to learn that single letter because otherwise every single word would be very confusing.
Yeah, totally agreed.
Yes, indeed. And then again, we learn certain letters like J, K, then T. You see, K and T, these are two very important words when you're speaking in English because as Bengalis, we learn these as K and T, but the proper pronunciations are K and T.
Yep.
There's a sort of slightness to that language.
Yep.
And when you don't add that slightness, you can hear, you can feel that this is not a native speaker.
Yep, and you need to remember that you can't mix the languages with one another. It's
Yes,
really important. You
exactly.
can mix the Bengali alphabet's pronunciation with the English alphabet's pronunciation. You need to remember that, or else it will sound very peculiar, actually.
Indeed. You see, we will definitely not like to hear the word Bangladesh. Why do you not like to hear it? Because that's not the natural pronunciation. The actual pronunciation is very important to any word. And so in English, I wouldn't like to hear, for example, appreciate said like appreciate.
Yep,
It
something
just
like
does not sound right. It sounds so wrong. And when you learn these words, you realize that if you continue to say them in a wrong way, it's sort of injustice to the whole language that's developed so beautifully.
Yep, yep.
Yes. So, yes, Ms. Tajima Zawin has said that learning phonics is very important to learn any language. Indeed, phonics
Yeah.
is the building block of a language. আমি যদি একটা ভাষায় ইট পাথরই ব্যবহার না করি তাহলে সেই ভাষাটা হবে কি দিয়ে? And phonics ও এমনই ইংলিশের ইট পাথরের মতো. It builds it up slowly and it's
Yeah.
the strong foundation that we need.
Exactly. Really important.
Yes. So we see some other letters, as I said, K and T.
Yep, let's take another alphabet. For example, A. As I said, A is also very important. Like, there's a word day. Well, days are passing really quick. So that's a word, but when we pronounce it as A, when we pronounce the word day, it becomes day. But actually, the pronunciation would be day, and the alphabet's pronunciation would be A. Okay? See, if we pronounce the letters correctly, we can also pronounce the words correctly. So you need to remember that. And knowing the correct pronunciation of the letters are really important.
Indeed. So I have some small example words here, just a little bit of vocabulary practice for us, and I'll pronounce them two ways. The first one would be the way we learn to speak with our Bengali accent, and the second one would be a more natural English accent. So we could say errands, or we can say errands. You see, it sounds more sophisticated, arranged, clean.
Yep.
We can say genuine. That's the clean version. It actually makes some sense when you hear it.
Yep, and the normal pronunciation is maybe genuine, something like that.
Genuine.
Genuine or genuine.
Indeed, yeah. So the thing is, we need to work on these pronunciations. আমরা যখন শুরু করব আমাদের একেবারে ক্লিন একটা প্রনাউন্সিয়েশন কিন্তু আসবে না, কিন্তু এখন আসছে না বলে আমরা প্র্যাকটিসও করব না, এটা কিন্তু একটা ভুল ধারণা। আমাদের কোনো কিছুই নিজের মধ্যে থেকে আমরা নিয়ে জন্ম নিই না, সবকিছু আমাদের শিখার একটা বিষয়, আমরা যেটা ইচ্ছা শিখতে পারবো, we just have to focus for that.
Yep. And when you learn English, then you need to remember three things. One, practice. Two, practice. Three, practice. Practice, practice, practice. Practice makes a man perfect. You need to remember that.
Indeed. And some other letters, as we were discussing.
Yep.
The thing about practicing is, when you learn new letters, pronunciations, anything, you can talk with other people, you can talk with even yourself. Record yourself, listen to yourself. Record lessons, prepare in advance. You can be your own teacher if you
Yep.
learn the tricks properly.
Indeed.
Indeed. So, before I go ahead with some of more of those tips, let's see the letter issue at hand. Another thing, just not with letter pronunciations, when we talk about accents, we also involve the letters R and T very specifically. See, the thing is, our two most common accents, which is the American one and the British one, these pronounce R and T very differently.
Yeah.
So, for example, what would be a British word?
Let's say that better.
Better. Yes.
But American would be better.
Better. Yeah.
Better.
So, see, those sound like completely different words. যে ইংলিশটা ভালো করে আয়ত্ত করতে পারেনি তার কাছে দুটো শব্দ একই মনেও হবে না. But the thing is, when you want to talk to people, it's the same language, but the accents differ so much that you have to learn those accents, otherwise you miss a whole chunk of that language itself.
Yep.
Yeah, so, for example, some other words would be separate. And we also have more words. These words, they themselves are not a big deal in the end, but when you're trying to make a whole sentence with them, it sounds off.
Yep. Let's say a word called daughter, but what we pronounce is daughter or daughter, something like that. Okay, but actually you need to, as I said, practice, practice, practice. Practice makes a man perfect, and you need to do lots and lots of practices if you want to master any language, not only English. If you want to master any of the languages, you need to do three things I told you already. So it's really important.
Indeed. And you see, even the word master, when we say it in British accent, which both of us share, we say it as master. We can say gather knowledge, and master it. But if somebody with an American accent were to speak in these words, they'd say master or gather. You see, those sounds, the basic rules of these sounds is, in British, we don't really pronounce T's and R's. But when we're speaking in an American accent, we pronounce T's as a very sharp D.
Yeah,
And
sharp.
yeah, the R is also very prominent in the words.
Yep. In USA, R is always pronounced, but in BBC accent, R is not always pronounced.
Yeah, we rather almost ignore it to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it comes with practice, honestly. Even if I tried to speak with a regular accent, that itself would be hard for me. Not because I was born with this accent, not because I was born abroad, but because I chose to accept it as my own and practice accordingly.
Yep. Yep. So there are 13 letters problem. We discussed some of them. So let's take another letter. Let's say that T. This is really important. Like the word which I said, important. See that if I pronounce it normally, it would be important. Okay, important. But when I pronounce it naturally, it will become important. Important. So another letter is P. But as I told before that we cannot mix Bengali alphabets with the English alphabet, but we actually mixed it. So there is po in Bengali alphabet, so we also pronounce P as P, okay? But actually it would be P, like Peter, Okay, that's a name, Peter. Normal pronunciation is Peter. Peter. Okay, Peter. But it's actually Peter. And American would be Peter. So
Yeah.
Peter. Yep.
But you see, the same thing applies for both of them, though. The P never changes. It's always a P and never a P.
Yep.
So P, K, and T.
Yeah.
These three sounds remain constant in any accent that you want to acquire.
Yeah.
It's almost like a general rule of English. Okay, so I can hear some sound problem issues in the comments. Please take your mic closer.
Okay.
Is this all right?
Is this
Okay.
all right?
Everyone, please tell us if the sound is all right.
Yep.
And Ms. Zabin has commented again that a lot of teachers focus on corrections instead of pronunciations.
Exactly. This is one of the major problems in our country, which is really, what will I say? It's
rather heartbreaking.
yeah. Actually, we focus more on correction rather than pronunciation, as the ma'am said that our teachers in our country, the teachers always focus on the correction, but not in the pronunciation. If our teachers would have focused more on the pronunciation, then I think that Bangladesh would have been a better country.
Yeah. See, our education system is very based upon the whole idea of
Yep.
exams and how much we can write, what we can write.
Yes, like that.
Yeah.
আমার নিয়মে অঙ্ক করতে হবে আর কোনো নিয়মে অঙ্ক করা যাবে না. Yeah, like
Yeah,
that.
we change a method, the entire thing is ruined.
Yeah.
But the thing is, writing will eventually leave. We will, at a certain point, আমাদের লেখার দরকারটা অনেক কমে আসবে। কিন্তু তখন আমাদের যে কথা বলতে হবে, if we can't pronounce properly, we won't be able to express ourselves. আমরা লেখার দিকে ফোকাস করি, ক্লাসে বানান, কিভাবে তুমি লিখবে, কত সুন্দর হ্যান্ড রাইটিং করা যায়। ইংলিশে যেন প্রোনাউন্সিয়েশনের থেকে হ্যান্ড রাইটিংটা বেশি সুন্দর। কিন্তু আমার কথা হচ্ছে, when I'm in an international situation with a native speaker, will my hand talk to them? No, my hand cannot talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
You have
it does
to
not
talk.
yeah, it does not matter how nicely my hand can write, how smoothly it can move, how fast it goes. What matters is how clearly I can express myself in a language that I'm learning right now.
Yeah. Another thing when you learn English, one of the most important thing is clarity, which is known as enunciation. Like if I say, David, can you fix my oven? Did you understand anything?
Not at
Because
all.
I was really quick. But when you speak to the native people like this, they will understand. They will
Exactly.
understand. But you know what? Enunciation is more important than the speedy talking.
And the thing is, since the native people do understand when somebody talks like that, they will talk to you in the same way.
Yeah. What is it then?
Yeah, they won't stop for you, they won't pause for you. You have to catch up to life, to these things. They don't pause or stop.
Yeah, first of all, you have to be a good listener. When you listen, for example, you're in a conversation with a native people, like you didn't understand a sentence which is said, you will say, sorry, could you please repeat it? Then he will repeat again. Then you will say again, sorry, I can understand this time also. Can you please repeat it? So he will repeat once again. But if you do it over and over again, he would be irritated, or he or she would be irritated. So what do you need to do? You have to be a good listener and then a good speaker. That's why there is a listening course in TESOL Bangladesh. So if you want, you can get admitted to that course. Yep.
Indeed, so TESOL offers courses on all sorts of ranges. You can target your exact problems here, and I feel like that would be very beneficial. But again, the thing about, we were talking about listening and speaking, right? When you're listening to somebody, you also have to communicate what you heard, how you heard it. If you talk to somebody, they said something that you couldn't hear, yes, you can say, could you please repeat that? But let's say they say the same thing with equal speed, and you don't want to hear that kind of speed. You want them to speak a bit slower. You have to say that to them. You can't expect them to just know what's on your mind. Nobody
Yeah.
can read minds. So you have to be like, hey, could you please speak a bit clearer, a bit slower?
Yeah.
I can't understand you. You have to ask somebody to clear things out. So just as much as you have to be a good listener, you have to be a good speaker. You have to communicate well. Okay, and we're very close to the end of our life, so I would like some comments from you guys. I'd like to see any questions that you might have, where you're from, what you want to learn in English, your interests, topics, anything.
Yep. So let's move on to our next one, which is about stress.
Stress. Yeah.
Stress is very, very, very important in the English language because stress is known as the music of the words. Okay, so I see there is another comment. Safwan Mustafa, may I know where do you study and in which class? Sure, ma'am. I would love to. Well, my full name is Safwan Mustafa, and my nickname is Safwan, and you can call me Safwan. And I'm a fourth grader and at Dhanmondi Tutorial School, and I am 11 years old. Yep. So that's it.
Okay, good interaction. So let's move back to the stress topic we were
Yep.
talking about.
So stress, as I said, that stress is known as the music of the words because let's take a word called potato. See, I give a stress here, potato. Now, before we learn stress, we have to learn how to find out a syllable, the syllables of a word. So there is a system called clapping system by which you can find out the syllables of a word. Let's say the word tomato, okay? Tomato. So how will we find out? To-may-to. How many syllables? 3 syllables. This is how. Now let's say the word
Delighted?
delighted. So let's say
Yeah.
that delighted. Again, 3 syllables.
Yes.
So this is how you find out. Let's take my name for example. Safwan.
Safwan.
Yeah,
Yes.
Saf,
Two simple
one.
syllables.
2 syllables. Yeah. Now let's take the last word, which is maybe mother.
Okay.
So let's say mother. 2 syllables. This is how you find out syllables by just clapping. Yep. So everybody, now let's. I'm giving you some tips. We both will give you some tips about stress. Now there is a rule on stress which you need to remember that if there is ticks, let's say tick, symbiotic, okay, or artistic, there is tick at the last of the word.
A word that ends with tick. T-I-C.
Yeah, the word that ends with tick. So what you will do then, you will give the stress on the previous syllable before tick, okay? Well, let me give you an example that artistic, okay? Artistic. So tick is the last syllable and the previous syllable is R-T. So T is the second syllable. Artistic. As I told you that the syllable before tick would be stressed. Now this stress is called primary stress, okay? Artistic. Now let's take another one. Symbiotic, okay? So how many syllables? Symbiotic. So 4. So now tick is the fourth syllable and what's the previous syllable?
Oh.
Okay? So symbiotic. There is the stress, okay? Now same goes to the ticks, okay? Mathematics, okay? See, I gave the stress on mathema, okay? Ma. So let's divide it again. Mathematics. So there are 4 syllables. Mathematics.
Yeah.
4. In the third syllable, it's ma. So we are gonna give stress on mathematics. So this is the one. Now, if there is shun. Now, can you tell me a word which ends with shun? T-I-O-N.
Attention, presentation.
Yep. that's a good example. Presentation, let's say. So presentation. Now, same goes to this one also, that before shun, the syllable before shun, you will stress on that syllable. Presentation. There are four syllables. So for shun is the last syllable, and the third syllable is te, okay? So we are going to give the stress on te. Presentation, okay?
Yeah.
Presentation. Sounding much natural, right? Now, the last one, the last rule which you need to remember is that if it ends with cation, now let's say application, okay? Application. Now, what you need to do, you don't need to find the previous syllable before cation, okay? Now, what you need to do, you just have to give the stress on K. Application. Therefore, so before shun, there is K. So application. Application, okay?
Application.
So these are the words. Then, a major question, that how will I understand that how will I find the words where I have to give stress? Now for that, let's say I love my mother. So which are the important words here? So it's love. I love my mother. So
yes.
there are two important words in the sentence. So what you will do, you're going to give the stress on those two words. I love my mother. Or what will it sound like if there are three scales in stress? One is low scale, another is middle scale, another is high scale, okay? Low scale is hello, something like that, okay? Very low. And the middle scale is the way we talk. Hello, how are you? I'm Mr. Jane. This is the middle scale. And high scale, hello! You're very loud, sorry. This is the high scale, okay? So these are the three scales in stress. So if we see the sentence, I is in the middle scale. I love is in the high scale. I love mine is again in the middle scale. And mother, okay? Mother is again at the high scale. So it becomes I love my mother. So it's sounding much natural. Or now if I say like this, I love my mother.
It doesn't even sound like an actual sentence. It sounds like one word.
Well, our Bangladeshi people, in our country, we just pronounce every single words in middle scale. Hello, my name is Safan. I'm 4 years old. I love to eat chicken. I love to eat rice. I love to eat myself. So yeah, in one scale only.
Yeah.
But if we give stress, it becomes much more natural.
Yeah. You see, the thing about stress is, stress orders out what the important part of your sentence is. The most important part gets the highest stress. The less important parts get less stress. That's how it works.
Yep. So now let's say another example. Where did you go yesterday? Okay. So now let's find out the important words. Where is the important word? First of all, where did is not the important. Did you is the important one because it's focusing on the person, you, and yesterday. Mane gotokal, okay? So this is another important word. So these are the three words in three important words in the sentence. So now if I give stress, where did you go yesterday? Where did you go yesterday? Yeah. So this is how you will use stresses. Okay. Now let's say my father loves me. So now you find out the important words here.
So obviously, my father loves me. Here the part is love and father. We're talking about my father's love for me, right?
Yeah.
So those are the important words. So the sentence would sound something like, my father loves me.
My father loves me.
Exactly, yeah.
So I hope viewers, you all understood the stresses, and I hope you all enjoyed our live. We are very close to the end of our life. And would you like to say something to the
Again,
viewers?
the comment section is open to any questions
Yep.
or anything you'd like to know. We'd love to answer you, and please do tell us where you're listening from.
Okay. So, yeah. Thanks a lot, everybody, for giving so many comments. Let me count how many comments we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 comments. So we've received 13 comments.
Yes,
Thanks a
indeed.
lot,
Great.
everybody, for commenting. And please share this live with everybody so that your friends, families, and relatives also get an idea about how to learn any language. So thank you.
Okay, so we'd be ending this very soon.
Yeah.
And let's see. Yes, thank you for everyone. All of your support is very appreciated. So today we discussed about some very basic topics in English, mostly phonics. And we learned about certain letter pronunciations. I'd like to repeat them for you guys just once again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's start with the entire alphabet. What do you
Of
say?
course.
Yeah. A, B, C, D, E, F, G,
H, I,
J,
K,
L,
M,
M,
O,
P,
Q,
R,
S,
T,
U,
V,
W,
X,
Y.
and Z.
Yep.
Aussie.
All together here.
Oh,
Aussie.
jinx.
Z is American.
Yeah.
So let's end it with a song, the ABCD song. So A B C D E F G H I J K L M N P Q R S T U V W X Y and Z. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me? Well, you should. You should.
Yeah, you definitely should.
Yep, okay. So that's
Okay.
all, viewers. Thank you. Thanks a lot for watching the lives.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for joining today. Assalamu alaikum.